Hi Capricorn, welcome to my channel. Capricorn, as I mentioned in the Solar Eclipse Initiation video and podcast, on 10th of June, Sun and Moon come together as a solar eclipse at 19 degree 47 minutes of Gemini, along with North Node to plant a new seed. We have 6 planets physically parallel and anti-parallel in the sky with the karmic nodes, like the whole universe is conspiring to bring something to pass. In this moment of eclipse, after a period of reconsideration and confusion, we are meant to see things clearly. It may not yet be time to start anew or announce, or external messaging might still be delayed as the ruler of the eclipse would be retrograde till 22nd of June, but the initiation of a new thinking and a new mind begins. A new thought form is born, and that starts a new phase of growth in your work and health sector. North Node is where we stumble, we get up, and we start again, cause it's our path of forward growth of this lifetime. It's our karma of this lifetime. We must grow through it and grow towards it. Every 19 years, North Node comes in a specific part of our chart to evolve that through leaps and bounds. For you, since May of 2020, North Node has been in the house of work and health routines. Now we are in the last 6 months of this karmic growth cycle of your health and work duties, which is bringing about a new start in your work duties, working environment, and health routines. This mingles with the lunar eclipse theme, which is bringing issues that were hidden to open, releasing certain demons and self-sabotaging patterns or complexes, which is helping you move forward with more power and be more visible going forward. Today we would not so much talk about this one event alone, but more about what the next 6 months are supposed to teach us, what kind of evolution our mind is undergoing, where one kind of thought form is being released and a new one which would serve us for the next 19 years is born. We never stop growing, but Gemini eclipses take our knowledge and our mind for a leap in matter of days and months, which would normally take many years to come to pass. And for you, that leap is coming through either a new work project or a new beginning in your work and in your health routine. If you're old enough, this kind of growth you would have experienced back in 2002. Your axis of service and integration is being activated. As over the next 6 months, one adventure ends and another one begins. As promised, we would now go deeper into all of this. This particular reading is divided into different chapters, into different parts, so you can reference them over the course of next 6 months and return back to them. Those references can be found with the timestamp in the details and in the comments, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just click on the video and you will see the sections appear. My name is Charu and I'm your host on this journey. So let's dig in. Let's start with looking at the nature of the solar eclipse and what it's about to bring to us over the course of next 6 months. Capricorn, 10th of June solar eclipse is initiating a new phase of bringing life in order through shifts in work project, through shift or change in work environment, through shift or change in the co-workers or the workers who work for you. They could be people who are returning, who are reporting to you, who are working for you, or they could be your colleagues at work. There is a change in the environment in which you operate and the kind of projects you get allocated. At the same time, the health routines are shifting as well. We try the untried here when it comes to work projects, when it comes to daily habits, when it comes to health routine, and bring balance in life. We are trying to bring a balance of work and health in some cases. In some rare cases, with this eclipse, we also adopt a pet. Our mind is in overdrive, and new ideas flow to initiate certain new clever projects projects that require a lot of information to be assimilated, projects that require efficiency to be created, communication linked projects. And in this part, in this strive to create order at work and create something unique, we will transition to a more visible role and a more lively working environment. This project could be of great significance to you. It could be very instrumental in growing forward. At the very least, fresh energy is infused into our working environment, giving us impetus to bring some enhancement by changing the work projects, by shifting the work environment, for example, by buying new office communication devices which make our life easy, or upgrading our office space, bringing in a new coworker, or starting a new dynamics at job of interaction with coworkers. We take on a new project possibly which enriches our knowledge and requires speed, communication, media, marketing, clarity of thought, steep learning curve which enhances our knowledge and enriches us and adds commercial value to us. Lot of useful work is done which helps us move forward. Job changes or multiple job changes can be in process at this time. It's very common for people to shift their jobs or start a job or a project of significance post this kind of eclipse. Sometimes work travel initiates, or work requires us to move around a lot, sell, network, speak publicly, marketing, sales, connecting information, data analysis, putting ourselves out there could be a critical part of growth of this job. And because of that, we become more valuable in the marketplace. We become more visible in the marketplace. It would require you to present information which could be very state of the art, or at least using certain social media which are state of art, new tools, and it would require you to show certain results without any bias, without any opinions, where we're trying to show just the facts and the stats instead of trying to color it with our own opinion. Travel may be involved as well. Sometimes we are given a very important project to lead or a new offer which is important to our future growth, but it requires speed, it requires us to quickly move, it requires a lot of flexibility, it requires us to go through wads of information, or has a very steep learning curve. And this might have been seeded already in January with some work already done on it during the course of early part of April. But now in June, there is a lot of back and forth which might be going on to get it right. There could be a new workplace dynamic or a new work location with the same timeline in mind, with some very extensive timeline, which means that there are shifts happening or decisions being made back and forth over a work location or a change in workplace dynamic. We get more vocal about our work. And through a process of trial and error, we learn to showcase and market our work through social media, through marketing, and through something that Capricorn always shy away from, and that is self-promotion. We would learn the art of self-promotion through these 6 months of going through this project or going through the shift in career. We share what we know and the information we collect. We are going to create outputs to showcase them instead of hesitating to showcase our work. Work would overload your speech to some extent and your mind, because it will be a lot. It's a very busy house essentially. So we'll have to find a way to balance out things, especially when it comes to clear boundaries between work and health. Multitasking, multiple jobs, projects in process in parallel are very common, requiring you to put your many skills to work, and it will add an immense amount of value to you. It is a steep learning curve, as I said. Communication and networking skills are critical on the job, and these will be clear growth areas for you, along with possibly a new skill which you might be acquiring through projects. And it's a time when you will learn on the project, possibly by increased interaction with other skilled people who understand a new skill that you're trying to acquire as well. And it will require you in some ways to open yourself more to learning from others. This is a great transit, and it requires some amount of compromise, if I may say, compromise in terms of being flexible to infuse new patterns, infuse new pattern of working with others, new dynamics, new work dynamics. And it's a great transit for health because it involves possibly you taking on a new health routine, which will help you balance out the nervous overload that this overload of information or work might be creating for you. We'll need to find a balance between work by creating efficiency over there and health routines. We'll have to make space for health routine. This is an eclipse, a transit, and a process that possibly started in May of 2020 of bringing life to order, where we try to balance the two parts of our life, which is work and health, by creating clear routines, clear guidelines of where your responsibility begins and where somebody else's responsibility starts. We could look for more flexible working arrangements. It's possible that the new job or the new project or the new work environment shift that you're looking for is driven from the need for balance between work and health, as well as because probably the previous work was boring, because dull is something that you will not be able to stand in this situation. You would want to look for something which is enriching, exciting, lively, interesting, and has a flexible working arrangement. We might research about a new diet, take on a new fitness gadget, or take on a new fitness trend. Work and health, as well as creating balance of the two, is the biggest growth aspect you would have been working on since May 2020, and now finally a new phase of balance is starting, although with some back and forth. We might also be learning some new efficiency techniques to bring more efficiency at work, or acquiring certain gadgets which add efficiency at work. This eclipse last happened around mid of 2002. I don't know if you remember that time back. You could look back for clues of what kind of parallel shifts in your health or work happened in 2002. It could be something similar that is happening now. Sometimes we also learn the art of managing critics and managing criticism, which we might be learning during this time. And you develop the verbal skills in that direction. While 2002 is great to look at parallel trends, but it's a long time back, closer to date you could look at 2011. But 2011 was a reverse polarity year, which means that there might be a kind of job or project that you had let go or something completed, like a phase of your career where you were very visible possibly. Maybe that ended in 2011 and you might have taken a back seat, or it could be possibly that in 2011 you decided to change career directions. You will find a reversal of the career direction you took in 2011 to what you're doing now. You would not shy from marketing your work right now, and you should not. It's possible that in 2011 you decided to take a back seat in some ways, or a different strategy to work, or the nature of work became more in the background, and now you're more in the front, dealing with people, using your communication and your networking skills. While this eclipse influences all of Capricorn, most influenced would be the ones with rising sun or moon at around 20 degree of Capricorn. So around 3 degrees plus or minus of 20 degree, which is around 17 degree to 23 degree of Capricorn, would feel it the most, which if you are a Capricorn sun would be around 10th of January born, 3 days before, 3 days after. But it influences all of you if it infuses the energy of a fresh start for all of you in your house of work and health routines. But these degrees would be where the impact is strongest, so there could be a complete shift or complete change in the work or the career or the health routines of the people who have planets around 20 degree of Capricorn or around 10th of January born. Let's briefly talk about Mercury retrograde in this part of the reading. While this whole process of a new start in your work and career and in health routine will pan out over the next 6 months, but there are certain reconsideration which we need to have right now in June itself till 22nd of June. These are things that we might be going back and forth on when it comes to health and work environment. You might be in the process of a review with either a critical project requiring rework or a co-worker miscommunication needing to be resolved, or a daily functioning at work somehow being disrupted with your schedule upside down, asking you to slow down, observe, reorganize, and detox your duties. New strategy might be required to handle problems, especially in workplace, in either the project or in workplace communication with the co-workers. It's possible that there are too many projects or burdens on you, due to which you are not able to find the balance. You would need to review which projects, which jobs, which workplace are more in line with what you want to create. Typically, during this time, we try to figure out what kind of work, what kind of projects, what kind of jobs appeal to us. Before we have a new start, we normally have a reconsideration on which duties, which jobs, which projects truly appeal to us. Because over years, our preferences change. So, after many years, the last time this transit happened, Mercury retrograde happened here, was in 2015, around May or June of 2015. Our preferences since then, as well as the skill sets, have evolved. So, what are the kind of projects, jobs, or workplace dynamic that is more in line with what you now want to create, and which duties are worth your time? There could be something where we have possibly overpromised at work, where we might be resetting expectation and reviewing how we communicate at work. When we have Mercury retrograde in Gemini, like we have right now, a communication strategy, a marketing strategy, and the skills we use in our work projects, they undergo a deep review. And that normally is driven by a miscommunication over or overcommitment we have made to somebody. Also, we look at the boundaries that we have at work, because sometimes our boundaries are encroached upon and we take on the burden of others, the duties of others, and that affects our health. So, the art of delegation is reviewed. Healthy boundaries between work and health are reviewed. Manage reactions to co-workers and client right now, because there could be some amount of confusion. It's possible that what we are saying is being not understood in the right light at work. Sometimes some critics or enemies become overactive at this time, and we need to create healthy active strategy to manage those daily pesky events. Sometimes physically, pests become a problem during Mercury retrograde, and we need to manage pests at work or at home. Pets, if you have any pets at home, they might need some care, or you might be reviewing whether you want to get a pet. Mercury rules travel for you, so it's possible that your way to get to office or the travel related to work, that might be under review. These are growth houses. We are learning during this time and having a steep learning curve. We discover new solutions to problems by looking at them from a different perspective, and possibly we are forced to slow down to find those solutions. This period could be key for your health. You might be sifting, sorting through your schedule, trying to find a healthier balance to your day, trying to shake up the routine, reviewing your immunity levels, your energy levels, researching reasons for any old health ailments. And in that research, there might be some new ideas that come up, some changes in your diet or in your health routines that you might be looking to implement going forward. It's the time when our body talks very loudly to us. And if we slow down, we can hear what it needs. Research on health, diet, exercise, repair, recover, rejuvenate. New regime, though, is best implemented after Mercury goes direct, so after 22nd of June, so that it sticks. Health checkups or any health diagnosis, if it has been done during the retrograde period, which is right now, they are best redone once Mercury goes direct, which is after 22nd, or they should be very carefully checked for a second opinion. Job changes should be researched, but anything new is better started or signed off on post 22nd of June. If say you need to sign off something, just remember to put some provisional clauses in case of changes, or double check details. As I said, miscommunication is possible. Missing details is possible. This transit of Mercury retrograde last happened in May or June of 2015, though nothing would be same now as compared to May or June of 2015, but the lessons from the past usually carry forward. And if there were some unresolved patterns of work and health from that time, they are also carried forward. You would be best placed to sort of bring forward the lessons from that time now. Sometimes solutions of current problems are thrown by looking at emails of that time, or photographs of that time, or by meeting old co-workers, or by reconnecting with old office friends. Sometimes health solutions come by looking at that time, because it's possible that there was a health routine you had implemented in May or June of 2015, which might help you in the current moment. Now, there was no eclipse at that time in Gemini, which we do have now. So this is a much bigger leap or shift that you're trying to make right now. But definitely looking back at May or June 2015 can throw some interesting ideas your way and can bring forward certain lessons from that time. We'll also delve deeper into a lunar eclipse or a closure that is coming with this. The solar eclipse comes with a lunar eclipse, a closure, a release, which could even be a stimulus for this new start in your career, in your work, in your health routine. The lunar eclipse that happened on 26th of May, which would impact us till 19th of November, is exposing something that was below the surface. It's releasing us from a past phase of dysfunction. It could be an ending, it could be an information reveal which comes to surface, which is the impetus for a new start in our health and work. It pulls us out from being behind the scene. It frees us from our own subconscious patterns, especially of fear and doubt, or a health habit which could have been blocking us, or a negative belief system which was stopping us from being out and doing the service. We might be hiding behind something till now, which is released, which is removed. And the first 10 days of September could be something of a reveal time, when through a fated event, something hidden from us could come to surface. Some sort of secret or a hidden dealing or a hidden affair could come to surface in the first 10 days of September. We are being prompted to get out of a phase of hiding behind, or of selfless service, or of not speaking up, or not actively marketing ourselves due to some old beliefs or even a fear that we might have. Sometimes our own self-sabotaging patterns, they come to surface, which could be related to our thinking, or a diet that needs to be released for health and healing. Sometimes a health issue or a health issues healing method comes to surface, which becomes an impetus for diet and health shifts. A phase of being in shadows, or feeling lost, or doing work for charity, or escape from worldly duties, or living in isolation or far off, is coming to an end with this lunar eclipse that we just experienced. We are being asked to release our fears, our complexes, and there might be some fated endings that come with it, to make space for the new, to make space so we can let the universe fill it up with possibility of something higher and something different. These endings and secrets coming out, or the complexes being released, become the impetus for a higher shift in our health and work, for healing, and an impetus for change in approach to our work as well, prompting us to aim higher and speak up. It's like something in our deep psyche is being unclogged after many years, leading to healing as well as hidden strength and talents coming out to surface. A hidden enemy which we were blind to, a hidden pattern of ours which we were blind to, that is being seen in daylight. And once we see it in daylight, we release it. And this issue could have started back in 2011 itself. It's possible that in 2011, something happened which made you take a back seat or doubt yourself. And now, in some ways, you are releasing that subconscious pattern. It could be a food ailment, something in our diet which is ailing us, or a habit of ours, or a thought process that was causing some issue in our health. And now we are letting that go. We are releasing that. And that is bringing about a new phase of healing. It is bringing about a new phase in your work and in your impact at work. It's like a phase of doing things without recognition is coming to an end. A phase of self-doubt, isolation, being held back due to sickness is coming to an end. And that becomes the launching pad for this new project, for this new phase in your career, for this new phase in your work dynamic and health condition. Now, in this section of the reading, we are going to cover some of the do's and the don'ts of the next 6 months. As the two eclipses intermingle and color our next 6 months, we would also be living the last 6 months of karmic growth that North Node in Gemini and the release that South Node in Sagittarius is supposed to give us. In a way of road to success, let's lay down a few do's and don'ts of the next 6 months, keeping in mind that we may stumble many times as we are trying to learn the lessons of North Node. But in that process, the untried would be tried. The first thing is there is a coming out of sorts, like a liberation from a cloud or from burdens and seclusion, with you now taking active control of your life. A phase of possibly spiritual and religious pursuits, or spiritual learning, or going within, or making sacrifices for others is coming to an end. It's time to now start offering what you know, getting engaged in practical services and being vocal for one's own self. Work would involve writing, stimulating work, lively, trendy, active, high energy, possibly a younger or a more youthful environment. With need to keep tabs of new trends, steep learning curve, it's like a student in a workplace, travel, movement, multitasking, speed, and it's possible that it could be more than one jobs at a time. Respect your need for all of these factors, because you would need all of these factors for you to choose the right kind of fit of work and projects for you. It must be stimulating, it must be lively, must make use of communication skills, and trendy in some ways. We would be setting order to life and not losing ourselves in ideals or fears or clutter anymore. It's like a cloud which is lifted. Routine responsibilities would be focused and not exploring the unknown. You would be taking things in your hand versus leaving it to fate. Making connections, networking, lively discussions with coworkers, with releasing any assumptions we used to make about our coworkers, simply asking other people for their views versus accepting any bias against yourself, accepting any belief you might have about what other people think. Simply asking others, keeping it light, keeping it simple, keeping it open. When it comes to communication, when it comes to connection at work. Keeping tabs on our health and noticing where work is impacting our health. To not let it get so bad that health gets so compromised by work. Maintaining healthy boundaries, choosing an active routine. If there's any health ailment that bothers us, again, we are not going to leave that to fate. Instead, actively find solution for it and accept the role that daily habits play in healing and in health. We are in active problem-solving mode, setting up new and improved routines that would serve us in the long run. Downside is that you would be pulled in multiple directions, multiple demands on your time because you are in a problem-solving role, so everybody wants to come to you to solve their problems. So you might be extinguishing multiple fires at work a minute. We have to strike healthy boundaries. We have to strike healthy balance between work and health. Healthy barriers between where your responsibility is and where it's the responsibility of other people to handle their own problems, or where work stops and life begins. Charity at work is not going to work anymore. We're getting rid of that whole charity project thing. Charity projects, if they're done as philanthropy, as not at work, and done on your own terms, done by own wishes in the community. Private time or period of rest and relaxation might be tough to come by. You'll have to specifically carve out time to rest, because there will be a lot of projects and people and things demanding your attention. We would actively be bringing a phase of doing work without recognition to close by actively choosing avenues where we get recognized or our work gets seen. We would be releasing procrastination, daydreaming, any secret desires to be rescued, saved, or being looked after by others. It's a period when practical skills are developed and used. Creating gives you satisfaction, creating gives you growth. These are the years of key growth in our skill set, in our practical service, and the projects of impact are done at these times. Now, these themes that I just spoke of for the next 6 months are very much consistent with the Saturn-Uranus square, which is also happening right now, and it is the key theme of 2021, which I detailed in your 2021 video, which I'll link in the detail as well as in the comments for you to access. But essentially, Saturn is squaring Uranus, and that is becoming exact again on 14th of June. It's a full year transit. Uranus is setting your self-expression free and increasing your capacity to take risks, both in your personal life as well as in your professional life. While Saturn in your house of finances is helping you create a new model of prosperity by pushing you through some force to create a formal structure of creating value from your self-expression or even passions and hobbies. These are very similar themes as compared to what these eclipses are coming. Together, these two things color our next 6 months. So if you've not looked at the 2021 video, take a look at that. It covers the Saturn square Uranus aspect as well in detail. In the last section of the reading, I'll address the pink elephant in the room, which is Neptune transit. Now, Neptune is making a hard aspect to this new start in your health and work, and it's creating a hurdle that needs to be crossed. Apart from that, Neptune is also standing still right now, about to go retrograde towards the end of the month on 25th, because of which we are having a lot of blind spots and confusion. After Neptune goes retrograde after 25th of June, there will be certain blind spots that we have. They will come to surface as the fog that Neptune has created, it lifts. Neptune is foggy, it is a higher octave of love and imagination, and it is in your house of thinking and speaking. It is making you think laterally, intuitively. It is honing on your intuition skills as well as your creative skills, and your speech becomes much more creative as a result of the Neptune transit. But it literally induces daydreaming in our brain. It creates a foggy brain. It creates a little bit of scattered brain in the sense that we forget our keys and things like. It creates a sort of a fog about daily affairs. You can pretty much see through what a person who's sitting next to you or is in the same room as you is thinking, but you cannot remember where you left your keys. So it gives a very different kind of vision, but it creates a fog about daily affairs. It creates confusion in communication, even misunderstanding, and compromises our ability to make quick decisions. All this is clearly in conflict with trying to bring order and doing analytical work involving left brain, making the hurdle harder for you to cross to bring order. Neptune, although is adding something to you because it's making a positive aspect for you, but it will make this new start not so easy. There will be a hurdle that we'll need to cross of our own mind, of our own thinking. It's almost like we would need to rely on our skills more than our thought process, if it makes any sense. It's like thinking can be foggy, but things that we do with our hands and, skills that we have acquired through practice, they get us through. So you'll have to try a little bit harder than anybody else to get through, which is a Capricorn story of life. But at the same time, you can make any mundane activity interesting with your thoughts, with your speech, with the flair. You can make a communication project much more persuasive. You can make a sales pitch much more persuasive because of the soft strokes you have, because you are able to understand your audience. You're able to understand the people who you're discussing things with. The people element is extremely in your favor with that, because Neptune over here makes you very, very charming. It adds to your charm. It adds to the charm of your speech. And you're able to feel things out. Feel out the things that people, the perceptions and the mood of the room, so as to speak. So Neptune here makes for a scattered mind, but it makes for a lateral thinking, creative thinking. So you'll have to make less, try harder on the routine, on the mundane stuff, but it will enable you to see patterns from wads of data. It also shows a gap sometimes when Neptune is here like that. It shows a gap in skill set. So you might have the right intelligence, you might have the right ability to get there, but there's a gap in the skill set for which is required to be filled for you to be able to perform the job that you want or the project that you want. There could be a gap in skills which we would need to work on. It shows a hurdle which we need to cross in terms of speaking, in terms of speaking up. You might have an amazing idea, but if you don't express it, if your self-critic, self-doubt blocks it before it comes out of your mouth, there is no point of that idea. So not speaking up, not expressing would need overcoming. If there's a skill set gap, that would need overcoming. Your style of communication might be completely different language from your co-workers. There could be actual language gap between maybe you're doing a project for a country which requires a different language. Or there could be something lost in translation between your co-workers and you, because they either speak a different language or they just talk differently as compared to you, or they think differently than you. There might be blind spots about our approach to co-workers or work, which would be made clearer. So once Neptune goes direct after 25th of June, some of these blind spots, some of these gaps, they become evident to us, and we are able to practically work on them without over-idealism, without daydreaming, without other factors, without the fog. There could be gaps, for example, in the commercial aspect of a project. So this is a project that you're working on or a new job that you're working on, but the commercials of the transaction are not clear, or there are blind spots in the commercials of the transaction, or the details of the contracts are not very clear, and the documentation has some missed details which will come to light once Neptune goes direct after 25th of June and some of the fog is lifted. We would have to find a practical expression of this higher octave of imagination you have been given and this lateral thinking that you have been given, which is a gift which is adding to you, but we need to find a good creative expression of it. It has its place, but it can interfere with analytical job, essentially. You would find yourself writing doodles or poems in office or at work when you might need to process data, for example. Which is fine if your job can accommodate both. That's what you're looking for. But we would have to actively sift through what is data and what is your mind's creation, because your imagination is in overdrive. This is especially true on work dynamics as well, because we might be sensing too many vibes versus going by what is being said, which creates again a form of miscommunication or lost in translation between co-workers. A lot of this will come to surface as the fog is lifted from our mind after 25th of June. Jupiter making a positive aspect with Sun on 23rd of June means that there will be certain ideas that can find a supporter. Some of your lateral ideas could find a supporter, like a client really likes the way you present, or a counterpart can support your idea. It's like something positive in the direction of conversation, sale, ideation happens around 23rd of June. Jupiter will fully come in your house of self-expression in 2022 as well. Excellent transit to have because it enhances our self-expression, it helps in commercialization of ideas, it makes you like a sponge of new information, and it creates excellent opportunities to speak and write. But that's more a topic of 2022. I did brief that in the 2022 preview video, which I would link below as well for you to check out that Jupiter transit that's coming in 2022. But you will see some benefits because Jupiter is just dipping toes in that area of your chart just for a brief moment. And around 23rd of June, you could see some amount of benefit come through in the direction of communication, in the direction of self-expression, in the direction of being able to sell, negotiate a commercial agreement well, helping this confusion or this miscommunication at work or this hurdle of mind and communication which is being created because of the confusion and the fog of Neptune. So that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Have a great season of eclipses ahead. Have a great next 6 months, and I'll see you in the next video now. Thank you.